So the next resort that is coming.
So this is the drum roll.
This one, I will say, is a lot of people will associate the name who we're talking about now is Wynn Resorts. Steve Wynn.
Well, yeah. So that's what I wanted to say. It's your friend of mine, Steve Wynn, but he's famous, and he recently made comments on his conference call how he considers Wynn to be a high-end premium brand that markets to the millionaire that comes in there to play baccarat or whatever. So is he towing the line and doing what China wants him to do with this thing, or what's he is?
I think there's a balance, but you're absolutely right. Brand name, in terms of the brand name, and in terms of the way they're building out the resort, it's still going to be very much a luxury resort and catering to that kind of clientele. So Wynn Palace is what is currently under development. It's a $4.1 billion project. Wynn Resorts, their stock, it's just to kind of paint the trend for you, is down 55% since the downturn began.
Same as
very similar.
Yeah.
But they are actually up 40% year to date. And
so they were down even more, is what you're telling me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's after a 40% run so far in 2016. So the Wynn Palace is projected to open in, I believe, this summer. There's been several construction delays. So I think it was June. It actually got pushed out again to August. And so 1,700 guest rooms projected. There's going to be this performance lake, 8 acres. As
Good
an
Lord.
attraction. And again, if you look at a lot of the marketing behind it, they are very focused on dining, retail, meeting spaces. And in a recent investor presentation, the company's projecting, depending on the market share that they can claim on the strip, about $630 million to $850 million in adjusted EBITDA at this property, which essentially doubles their base in Macau. Because they only have one other resort, which is the Wynn Encore. That opened in 2006. There was an expansion in 2010. Just to give you an idea. So, Macau recently has placed a cap on these new resorts and how many table games they can install.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas at Wynn Encore Macau, it's about 458 gaming tables, 708 slot machines. These new resorts are probably going to get about 250 gaming table games per.
And that's one of the ways that China is kind of like, okay, stop it with the gaming.
I think they're just trying to regulatory body in Macau is just trying to keep things balanced. And the thing is, these companies can reshift their tables from one property to another. So it's not like it's static.
Okay.
But it just gives you an idea that it is a smaller base. That's why Studio City, even though it's the newest resort, doesn't have as many table games as City of Dreams. So the Wynn Encore, which is currently open, it's smaller in terms of its guest rooms, about 1,000, and has about 57,000 square feet of retail space. And adjusted EBITDA in 2015 was $708.6 million, which represents about 60% of the total company EBITDA. And so based on those projections I mentioned for Wynn Palace, again, it's about doubling the base for the region. And it's just something to keep in mind, too. In 2015, non-casino revenue made up about 20% of the top line at Wynn. So it's up from 21% the previous year and 20% in 2013. So again, the company's kind of grappling with the changing dynamics and the fact that, the casinos are not going to be this incredible source of growth, bread and butter that they were previously.
So you had Studio City Macau. It opened up last October. You've got Wynn Palace. It's about to open up this June, supposedly, although there have been delays.
Sure.
Yeah. Got another one coming up, though. And
there's several more, but just for the sake of time, I'm focusing on the ones for 2016. So the one that's coming later this year is really incredible. I've seen a lot of the pictures following the development. One of our writers, Bradley Seth, had some.
He's probably been there.
When he was based in Macau, he had some really cool pictures. But it's the Parisian from Las Vegas Sands.
So the Parisian Macau. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the Las Vegas Sands, this is their $2.7 billion project, and Las Vegas Sands, their operating base is spread out through more regions. So they have Macau, they have Singapore, they have Las Vegas and other regions. So their stock is down about 35% since the downturn. I think they're just a little bit more diversified. And
they do a very brisk business in Las Vegas on conventions.
Yes.
They have like 3 million square feet of convention space at the Venetian and stuff. It is massive amount of just convention space for meetings. But anyway,
and I actually stayed with them when I was in Vegas a few years ago at the Palazzo. So there, Las Vegas Sands owns a 70.1% stake in Sands China, which operates all these Macau properties.
Does the government get the other cut, or is it just locals? Yeah, you're giving me this look like.
Yeah, so this all part of the deal. I don't know all the details in terms of the way the Macau had auctioned off these rights when the monopoly ended, but it all has to do with the
whose beak are you going to wet there? Yeah.
So the Parisian's projected to open its doors in the second half of 2016. Again, there's been some construction delays. So this one is really big in terms of the guest rooms. So 2,900 guest rooms expected.
Which is double the Studio City, because that was 1,600. They're talking about 1,700 over at Wynn Palace. So the Parisian's a 800-pound gorilla in the room. I mean, that's a lot of rooms.
And touching on those guest room numbers, I'll get to that towards the end as we sum things up, why that's kind of important. So they're expecting like 150 different retail boutiques and shops. Again, 250 gaming tables, like I said, because of the cap that Macau's instituted. And I think the coolest thing here, they're going to have a 1/2 scale replica of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, wow. There. So it's not going to be small like the one in Vegas.
So they just put up, I think they just put up like the final piece of that, the spire at the top.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a big ceremony for that. But Macau properties contributed about 53% of adjusted EBITDA in 2015. So it's down from 60% in 2014 just because of the fact that the region's struggling. And casinos made up about 82%, of net revenue in 2014. That fell to 78% in 2015. The casinos overall saw revenue fall 24% for the year. And some smaller losses in the casino revenue in Singapore at Las Vegas kind of were able to offset the larger declines in Macau. So the Venetian and Sands Cotai, which is Las Vegas Sands' two other big properties in the region, they fell 29% and 33% respectively. So they're feeling the pain, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're definitely not experiencing the same downtrend as everybody else has. But the thing is, they're able to offset that a little bit more also in terms of Las Vegas coming in is with occupancy rates and average daily room rates were up in Vegas, kind of boosted their results that they reported recently, and also in mall revenue. So shops at Venetian and shops at Cotai Central, huge retail spaces, and they posted high single-digit gains in 2015. It was a slowdown from the previous year, but again, a bright spot when you're looking at all this red in terms of the casino revenue.